Hey guys, it's Mr. Schwausch, or Mr. S for short. I'm your college advisor at Sinton High School for the 11th and 12th grades. Hope you're all having a fantastic summer, what's left of it at least, and are excited for the upcoming school year. I just wanted to take a few minutes to reintroduce myself for those of you who may not remember me or may be new to the school, and talk a little bit about what all we'll be working on this year as seniors when it comes to college and your plans for after high school, okay? So, reminder about me, I am from Georgetown, Texas, which is a little suburb of Austin, about 30 miles north. Kind of like Sinton is to Corpus. It's not in the big city necessarily, but it's right down the road from it. I graduated from Georgetown High School, which is, at the time, a really big high school. There's now multiple high schools in Georgetown, but when I was there, it was just the one high school. We had over 750 seniors, so just a little bit bigger than y'all's graduating class. Actually, I guess that's probably about the size of the entire school. But anyway, after I graduated from Georgetown High School, at the time I'd wanted to go to Texas A&M to study agriculture, but I was in the top 26% of my class, and at that time I was not able to gain admission to Texas A&M because of my class rank. So I decided at the time that I would go to Blinn Junior College and study there for a year, and then hopefully transfer to Texas A&M. So I worked really hard. I got really good grades where I could transfer to a good four-year university. But like I said, I'm from the Austin area, so at the time I felt like I needed to move closer to home because we had some family stuff going on. So I transferred to UT Austin, where I graduated with a degree in history in 2017. On a similar note, as a history aficionado, I recently adopted a cat within the last month from the animal shelter and named him Teddy after 26th President of the United States, Teddy Roosevelt. Then, generally speaking, as far as hobbies, I enjoy watching sports, especially football, so I'm a little nervous right now about whether or not we're going to get football season. At least college football seems a little shaky. Big Texas football fan, so hoping I get to see my Longhorns on Saturdays this fall. I'm also a big Dallas Cowboys fan, so really looking forward to this season in the NFL if that happens. And then I also enjoy spending time outdoors. We have a ranch up here in Georgetown that I work on every day. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. So here are some of the big tasks that we'll be working on throughout this school year when it comes to college and career process. Now, I know a lot of this is a little shaky again because of the coronavirus. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go through this and how it pertains to some of these issues. So first, here are the required documents that you all need to apply to college if you plan to apply to college. So first, you'll need, obviously, a college application. If you're planning on applying to a public university or even a community college in the state of Texas, you're more than likely going to use applytexas.org. That's the common application portal for public schools in Texas. And even some private schools are on Apply Texas too. What I love about Apply Texas is it's really user-friendly, and what you can do after you create one application on Apply Texas, once you submit that application, you can actually copy that application to an application for another school and submit multiple applications. So say you submit an application to Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Once you have submitted that application to Corpus Christi, you can just click copy that application to UT San Antonio, Texas State San Marcos, UT Austin. Makes your life a lot easier. If you're planning on applying to out-of-state colleges, maybe you want to go to Louisiana State University or University of Florida, you might be using very different applications from Apply Texas. Some out-of-state schools use the Common App, which is also a common application portal like Apply Texas, but it has a lot of out-of-state schools. Or some out-of-state schools will use even their own college website. Even some private schools in the state of Texas have applications on their own website, like Texas State Technical College. If you want to go trade or technical school route, they have applications on their website, as does Baylor University and some other private universities in the state of Texas. So first of all, if you know what schools you want to apply to, it's important that you find out okay, how do I apply to these schools? Which applications do I use to apply for these schools? Next, and this is one thing that's very different from how it has been a lot of other years. Your SAT or ACT scores for your college application are optional. A lot of universities are making test scores optional this year because a lot of students were not able to take the SAT or ACT in the spring or summer because they weren't being offered because of the coronavirus. Now, I know quite a few of you were able to take the SAT during the in-school SAT date last March. That is fantastic. Since you already have those scores, I would recommend sending those scores for sure. If you don't have SAT or ACT scores, though, you weren't able to take it, you haven't been able to take it, you are still able to apply to schools and have a complete application file. It just might be a little different depending on how they review your application. If you don't meet the automatic admission criteria and your application has to go into holistic review, that might influence your chances if you don't have SAT or ACT scores and another student that you might be competing against to get a spot in a really competitive major does have SAT or ACT scores. I know College Board and ACT are working on offering tests this fall. So if you're able to find that opportunity, if they do make it available this fall, I would recommend trying to take a test if you haven't already. But if you do not, there's a lot of schools that are still going test optional, like A&M Corpus Christi, University of Houston, Victoria. They're all test optional this year. And that's only if you apply to a four-year university. If you apply to a community college, they don't even require SAT or ACT scores. Now, a lot of four-year universities will require application fees or fee waivers. On Apply Texas, at the end of the application, there's a spot for you to pay for your application fee with a credit card or debit card. If you meet some of the application fee waiver criteria based on your family's socioeconomic status, you can click request fee waiver and then speak to either myself or one of the high school counselors, and we can send you a application fee waiver to that school. You'll also need to send an official high school transcript just showing what classes you've taken throughout your high school career, what your grades are, what your class rank is. And then some four-year universities require application essays. Those can be found on Apply Texas. We'll talk about those a little bit later. So if the school requires the essay, or even if the school lists the essay as optional or recommended, you should definitely write the essay, especially if you're applying to a really competitive school or applying to a competitive major within a school, like business, engineering, science, etc. And then lastly, TSI scores or proof of exemption. The TSI we'll talk about in a few slides again, but that's the state of Texas test that requires students to score above a certain threshold in order to demonstrate college readiness and be able to register for certain classes at the college level. So you must score above certain thresholds in the math, reading, and writing sections of the TSI, or if you took the SAT or ACT and scored above a certain score level on those evidence-based reading and writing and math sections of the SAT or the math, reading, and English sections of the ACT, you can be exempt from those sections of the TSI. So let's talk a little bit about college admissions. So for community colleges, those schools are open enrollment. What that means is any student that applies, regardless of your class rank, regardless of your GPA, regardless of your test scores, or even if you've taken a test, you're automatically accepted just for applying. So if you have really bad, or you think you have bad SAT or ACT scores, you have a really bad class rank, and you're afraid, I'm not going to be able to get into a university, I'm not going to be able to go to college because my grades are terrible, don't worry. Community colleges are open enrollment. Anyone who applies is accepted. There's nothing wrong with going to community colleges. I went to Blinn after high school, and it was a fantastic experience. In fact, a lot of students prefer going to community college because it gives them an opportunity to kind of ease into that college experience while saving some money at the same time. As far as four-year universities, different universities have different criteria for automatic admission or holistic review. In the state of Texas, we have the top 10% rule, where any student who is in the top 10% of their graduating class is automatically accepted to any public university, with the exception of UT Austin. For UT Austin, you have to be in the top 6% of your graduating class to be automatically accepted. Now, that only applies to being accepted to the university itself. If you're in the top 10% and you apply to Texas A&M for one of their really competitive majors like business or engineering, you may be accepted to Texas A&M, but you may still have to go through an extra holistic review process to be placed in the specific major that you requested. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And at the same time, if you are not in the top 10%, or if you're at UT and not in the top 6%, just because you're not in those automatic admissions criteria spots, that doesn't mean you will not get accepted. A lot of universities offer holistic review options where they review your entire application, your essay, your resume, your extracurricular activities, and can offer you acceptance based on those outside factors, outside of your grades and test scores. Or even some schools like Texas A&M or UT Austin offer alternative pathways where if you're outside the top 6%, and UT is not able to offer you admission through holistic review, you can go to a school like UT San Antonio through the CAP program. And if you maintain a certain GPA at UTSA for a year, I think it's like a 3.0 or 3.25 or 3.5, one of those. And if you maintain that certain GPA in the 1 year you're at UTSA, you will be automatically accepted to UT Austin as a transfer student. A&M has the same program where if you're offered what they call PSA, Program for System Admissions, you can go to a system school like Tarleton State, Texas A&M Corpus Christi, A&M Kingsville. And if you maintain a certain GPA, you can automatically transfer to Texas A&M. Okay, so those are just a few of the options for admission to different colleges or universities. Again, if you have any questions about any of the specific admissions requirements, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I know it can be kind of confusing, but I'll help you figure it out together, okay? As I mentioned earlier, some universities may require that you submit an application essay as part of the college application. So if a school lists the essay as required, obviously, you have to write it. Schools like A&M, UT Austin, they all require the essay. In fact, they require essay topic A. Other schools will list the essays as optional. A school like Texas State lists the essay as optional, but the catch is if you want to be considered for scholarships at a university like Texas State and it has the essay listed as optional, they need to see that essay for you to be considered for university scholarships. So even though the essay is not required for admission to the university, it is still required for you to be considered for scholarships. And I know you all want to be considered for scholarships to make college as affordable as possible. So make sure you take the time to write these essays, even if they're listed as required, optional, or recommended. You're not going to hurt your chances by writing the essay. It can only help you by writing the essay. I know a lot of students are a little hesitant to write essays or a little scared of writing essays because, frankly, these essay prompts can be a little challenging. They ask you to talk about yourself, to talk about your experiences, which can be really daunting to students. But it's important because it gives you an opportunity to talk about yourself, show the colleges and universities what you're like as a person. They can see what grades you've gotten in your classes throughout your high school career from your transcript. They can see your test scores. What they can't see is what's important to you as a person. What are your values? What do you like? So writing these essays gives you an opportunity to demonstrate your values to a university, which is a really, really important part of the application process because, you're applying along with thousands of other students for a limited number of spots. So you really want to set yourself apart from everyone else that's applying. We have done a webinar on the Apply Texas essays where me and the 11th and 12th grade hybrid advisor at Mathis High School talk through the Apply Texas prompts in depth and talk about what are some tips that you can take advantage of to help write these essays so that you have really great application essays. So that is on our YouTube page. If you need any help with that, please either watch that video or text or email myself, and we can set up a meeting to sit down and talk about the essays, because I want to make this process as easy as possible. I know you can all write a fantastic essay because every single one of you is unique. As I mentioned earlier, the TSI is used to determine if a student is ready to register for college-level coursework in reading, math, and writing. A lot of you who are in dual credit have already taken or passed the TSI because you had to do that in order to register for those dual credit classes. If you have not been in dual credit and want to go to college after high school and either haven't taken the SAT or ACT or did not score above those score thresholds you see at the bottom of the screen on the respective sections, you will need to take the TSI. It is offered right now online at Del Mar College. They're offering the test at home to you through your computer, or you can make time to go take the test at Del Mar, or there might even be opportunities for you to take the test at the high school. There's no limit to the number of times you can take the test. You can take the test as many times as you want or need to in order to hopefully pass the sections. And if you don't pass the sections, that's not the end of the world. That just might mean that you may have to take an extra remedial class in order to register for those certain classes in math, reading, or writing at the college level. So I know I came down earlier last spring when y'all were juniors and talked a little bit about the College Board Opportunity Scholarship, but I just want to remind you all that this is an opportunity that's available to you just for taking these steps that you're taking already in order to apply for college. So this year, what we'll be focusing on specifically is applying to college, submitting your FAFSA, and strengthening your college list. Not in that order. We'll strengthen the college list first, then apply to college, then do your FAFSA. Just for applying to college, you'll be entered into a $1,000 scholarship, just like you'll be entered to a $1,000 scholarship just for submitting your FAFSA. If you haven't made a college list yet, all you have to do is go to bigfuture.com, log in with your College Board username and password, and you're good to go. You just have to opt into the College Board Opportunity Scholarship, and you can be eligible for these different scholarships. So I know a lot of you are really interested in how do I find different scholarships? How do I apply for scholarships so I can get money for college? Because college is expensive. This is a really great opportunity for you all to apply for different scholarships and hopefully earn some money to help pay for college. I want to talk about some other scholarship opportunities that you can hopefully take advantage of as well. So university scholarships, like I mentioned, those are scholarships that are offered through the university themselves. So that could be like a Texas State Dean's List scholarship, UT Austin Presidential Scholarship, AM Corpus Christi Islander Scholarship. These are scholarships that are awarded to students who apply to the university based on either academic merit, based on your grades in high school, test scores, class rank, or financial need if your family makes below a certain level of income. Like I said, a lot of these university scholarships can be awarded to students just for applying to the college. Now, some of them have separate scholarship applications, like Texas State University has a separate scholarship application called the Bobcat Online Scholarship System. So you do need to make sure that if the school you apply to has a separate application for scholarships, that you complete that scholarship application, because you definitely want to be considered for scholarships. There are also national scholarships that are offered by national organizations like the Coca-Cola Scholarship, Taco Bell Foundation Scholarship, the National Holiday Greeting Card Scholarship. These are scholarships that are offered by national organizations open to students throughout the entire U.S. Now, a lot of students can be intimidated to apply for these national scholarships because you're theoretically competing against students from all over the U.S. So I have students that always say, I'm not going to worry about that scholarship. I'm not going to get it. It's a big scholarship. What shot do I have? Well, I always tell students, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You're not going to receive that scholarship if you don't apply for it. But if you apply for it, who knows? You might be accepted for that scholarship. Even if you are hesitant to write essays, you don't want to write essays, if there's a 500, 750 word essay that you have to write, to apply for a certain scholarship. It takes you an hour, hour and a half to write that essay. You get awarded that scholarship. It's $1,000 scholarship. You're getting paid $1,000 for an hour, hour and a half's worth of work. Let me tell y'all, I don't get paid $1,000 for an hour and a half's worth of work. That's not how my job works. If you take the time, you receive that scholarship, it's going to be well worth it in the end. And not all scholarships require essays. Some, like the Taco Bell scholarship, require you just to make a video of yourself explaining something you're passionate about. The greeting card scholarship that I mentioned is a great opportunity for those of you who are really artistically minded. All you have to do is create a greeting card, either draw a greeting card or create one on a graphic design application on your computer. And if a judge likes your artwork the best, you can be awarded a scholarship. And a lot of them also have multiple scholarships they can award. Like some do first, second, and third place scholarships. Some just award 5 scholarships to the top 5 application submissions. So it's really important that you take the time, even on these national scholarships. And then there's local scholarship opportunities that are available to students who are from the specific area, like maybe the San Patricio County Lions Club has scholarships available to students, or the high school band booster club, or the high school NHS chapter. A lot of local scholarships are typically not available until the spring semester, so we'll just need to check back around in the spring and see what scholarships are available. And then here is a list of some different scholarship search resources that you can use to help find scholarships. A lot of national and some local scholarships are available through these websites. The thing I like about these websites is all you have to do is create an account on these websites. When you create an account, it asks you to put in your biographical information, who you are, what race or ethnicity are you, what's your GPA, what are you interested in studying, and it matches you with different scholarships that you are eligible for based on that information. So it really cuts out the middleman, where you don't have to just click through a list of scholarships, read through the description, and find out, oh my gosh, I can't apply for this scholarship. It's only for students who want to be airplane pilots and I want to be a nurse. So it matches you with those scholarships based on the specific information that you put in when you create the account. So that really makes your life a lot easier and narrows down that search process. The last thing is financial aid. So the free application for federal student aid is what you can use to apply for different grants, which is free money that is awarded to you based on your financial need of your family, or it can be based on academic merit. But a lot of the grants that are awarded are the need-based grants, like the federal Pell Grant. That's also how you apply for federal student loans, which is the money that you borrow and then pay back at a later date. And then even some scholarships will require that you submit your FAFSA in order to be considered for those scholarships as well. So the FAFSA typically opens on October 1st. I don't know if that's going to be a little different this year since the deadline for filing 2019 taxes was pushed back. But you will use the prior year's tax return. And this is a typo here on the screen. I did not correct that. So you will be using 2019 tax returns for your 2021-22 FAFSA. It has to be the prior year tax returns, so it must be the 2019 tax returns. And we'll make a separate video where we talk through specifically the FAFSA process. But keep in mind that if you are planning on submitting your FAFSA in order to have as much money as possible to hopefully pay for college, you will need to use your 2019 tax returns. All right, I know I talked through a ton of information. I know there's a lot to digest there, but the good news is I'm always here to help. My job is to help you out with anything related to this process and make it as easy as possible. I'm always available. You can either send me an email at that email address, you can call or text me at that Google Voice number, or you can even text me back to the number that I text you all from with the 361 area code from time to time. I look forward to this school year. I think we're going to have an awesome year, even though it's going to be a little different because of the coronavirus. But I look forward to it. You all are awesome. Stay safe. I look forward to talking with you all soon. Thank you and have a good day.